Box office numbers for Wednesday are out for Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel dropped 47% from the previous Wednesday, while Wonder Woman only dropped 32% from the previous Wednesday. Last Wednesday, Wonder Woman brought in more money than Captain Marvel, and so with Wonder Woman having a smaller percentage of a larger amount of money taken away, it means that this Wednesday there was an even larger gap. The gap was $1.7 million. My revised estimate for Captain Marvel's Wednesday total was $5 million, but it only came in at $4.5 million, so $500,000 off, fairly close, but a slight reduction. What looks to be happening is that Captain Marvel seems to get a slightly larger than normal bump on Tuesdays. So the Monday to Wednesday totals are in line with what it should roughly be, but Tuesday is getting a bigger bump on Monday, and thus Wednesday then gets a bigger drop from Tuesday because the Tuesday's a little bit bigger. So I don't know if you can really read much into that with the old Tight Ass Tuesday with the cheap tickets in most places. More people than usual are willing to see Captain Marvel on the cheaper day. I think the only thing you can really conclude from that is there may just be no other films out right now to see, and so a lot of people might just see films on Tuesdays. And I mean, I don't even know what else I would even see at the movies right now. As much as I wouldn't want to see Captain Marvel again, I think Captain Marvel's probably a safe choice right now. Just if you don't know anything about any of the films and you go, what would I want to see? Yeah, the Marvel film, go see Captain Marvel. So that might be what's happening with the Tuesday rather than some sort of, I don't know, people that want to see Captain Marvel don't have money. Maybe that's the other reason, but I doubt it. Only one day left till the end of the week for the second week totals for Captain Marvel. I'm estimating it'll come in somewhere under $89 million, so let's just call it $89 million. And that'll bring Captain Marvel's US box office total to around about $287 million. I think it'll be a little bit under that, but let's just say $287 million. This weekend, I think Captain Marvel will get around about $9.6 million on Friday. It'll get about $14.5 million on Saturday, and back to about $9.6 million on Sunday. So let's just call it $10 million, $15 million, and $10 million. So somewhere in the neighborhood of $35 million. I think it'll be a little bit under that, but just to round it off, I think Captain Marvel will get a weekend box office total of about $35 million. Wonder Woman got $41.3 million in her third weekend, which, if everything goes as I think it will, it'll be about a $6.2 million surplus to Wonder Woman, and so Wonder Woman will continue to accelerate, clawing back the opening weekend lead that Captain Marvel's box office has over Wonder Woman's box office. On the little chart here, you can see the gap between the Captain Marvel box office and the Wonder Woman box office at the same stages. The red line has the exact numbers up until Wednesday, and the blue line has my projected numbers up until Sunday. So you can see the large drop down from the 3-day opening weekend, where Captain Marvel had about $50 million more than Wonder Woman's opening weekend. Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel were fairly even over the weekdays. Then Captain Marvel had about another $8 to $10 million on the next weekend, and then from now on, I think that Wonder Woman will beat Captain Marvel on pretty much every single day. So from now on, maybe Friday will be close actually. Friday's box office will be quite close. But for Saturday, Sunday, every day after that, Wonder Woman should get more money than Captain Marvel. And the only question is whether or not over the next 2.5 months, will it be more than the $58 million that Wonder Woman was behind? So I think it will be, but that's what's basically to look out for. So Wonder Woman will be getting millions of dollars to $1 million per day over the next 80 or so days. So in theory, that's $80 million or more. But if Wonder Woman doesn't claw back $1 million per day or more, then obviously they may struggle to get to the $58 million. And the main reason I've thought that this will happen basically after the first week was because Wonder Woman has a very abnormal box office proceeds. Okay, Wonder Woman did not have a fantastic opening weekend compared to these massive films. Okay, it was a very good weekend for a normal film, but for these big tentpole films, it was a very poor opening weekend. But after the opening weekend, everything went very, very, very well for Wonder Woman. So the reviews perhaps kicked people into gear, or whatever the reason was, I don't know. But Wonder Woman's box office performance is actually excellent in the North American market after the first weekend. But the first weekend is where a lot of films earn a big chunk of their money, and so there's a lot of money to be made back. It was a big deficit, but Wonder Woman just kept getting people going. Weekdays numbers were fairly good, and weekend numbers just stayed consistently good. And so that's how Wonder Woman earned more money than Captain America Civil War, and it earned more money than Iron Man 3, two films which I don't think Captain Marvel will earn more money than. So that's really the gist of my prediction, is that Captain Marvel won't get more money than Iron Man 3, and Wonder Woman got more money than Iron Man 3. That's as simple as I can put it. There are a lot of people out there saying that Captain Marvel will get more than $1 billion in total box office proceeds. I'm not saying that won't necessarily happen. I'm not saying that it will happen. I think it'll get close if it doesn't get there. But they're downplaying exactly what $1 billion means, as if it's some exceptional amount of money for one of these tentpole films. Okay, here are the inflation-adjusted numbers. They are a bit of a pain to get, but here are the inflation-adjusted numbers for all of the major films, and the lowest film that earned more than $1 billion was The Jungle Book, and it is the 86th biggest film of all time. And so when people are making a big deal about how Captain Marvel might make $1 billion, what they're actually saying is Captain Marvel might be the 86th biggest film of all time. Now, that's not bad. It's not terrible to be number 86 in total worldwide inflated adjusted figures. But the way the articles are, it's like it's going to be number one ever. It's going to be the biggest film ever. Well, it's nowhere near the biggest film ever. Aquaman is the 70th biggest film so far, and Aquaman's got $1.1 billion. So I don't remember all of these articles saying what a good job Aquaman's doing in the box office, and I imagine Aquaman will get more money than Captain Marvel. But as I say, Aquaman's 60th biggest. To break $1.2 billion would be the 60th biggest film of all time, and that at the moment is Captain America Civil War. So Captain America Civil War in inflation adjusted figures is the lowest film that earned more than $1.2 billion. So we'll see what happens this weekend. We'll see how much Wonder Woman earns over Captain Marvel. Now, if Wonder Woman doesn't earn more this weekend than Captain Marvel, it's probably very difficult for Wonder Woman to get a bigger box office total. It's still possible, but really, if it doesn't turn the corner now, the gap was probably too large to overcome. So this weekend is really make or break time, if you like, except I don't think it'll be a problem. I think Wonder Woman will earn more money. But if something happens and Wonder Woman does not earn more money, or in other words, if Captain Marvel gets more than $42 million this weekend, I think then it'll be quite difficult for the Wonder Woman box office total to be larger than the Captain Marvel total. It could still happen, but I think it'll be far more difficult than at the moment, where I think it'll happen quite easily. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.